Another big breaking news coming in. The prosecutor has withdrawn the case against Mehul Choksi's entry. The case was regarding his illegal entry into the island nation, which the Indian fugitive had contested, saying he was abducted from Antigua and Barbuda and taken to Dominica. So Mehul Choksi here, the prosecutor in Dominica. Shravan, it's over to you to fill us in on all this on this latest development in the Mehul Choksi case.
Well, in fact, the order in the Dominica court has already been passed, which has been accessed by Republic TV, in which they make a mention that the prosecutor in this case has already withdrawn, which would essentially mean that as far as the big contention that whether at all Mehul Choksi was abducted and whether he was illegally taken into Dominica, that basically stands today. That's what the legal team of Mehul Choksi is also telling us, that the latest order essentially indicating that the initial contention that this was a case where he was abducted and he was taken illegally into Dominica stands before the court in Dominica, which is certainly a big boost for Mehul Choksi. It remains to be seen how exactly this is going to be contended by the Indian agencies also, and whether at all there's going to be an effort that is going to be made by the Indian agencies in Antigua, where there is a pending case at this point in time. Of course, this is going to work in favor of Mehul Choksi when the matter also comes up in Antigua, and only after the court makes a final decision on the next course for Mehul Choksi, one would have a better idea of how things basically pan out for the Indian agencies too.
Well, the prosecutor of Dominica having withdrawn the case against a fugitive, when we talk about all the many cases that are against him right now, how does this development influence those cases? Does it influence those cases at all, the cases that he is facing, the charges he's facing in India?
Well, this matter particularly is just restricted to what happens in Antigua, does not have a direct bearing on the cases here in India. As far as the Indian agencies go, remember they've already made a representation, and in all likelihood is given an opportunity in the Antigua court. The Indian agencies would once again like to impress upon the court that he faces criminal charges here in India. One of bank fraud and second of criminal conspiracy also. Now that's the case of the Central Bureau of Investigation and the Enforcement Director. But remains to be seen whether at all that opportunity would be given to the Indian agencies once the case comes up in Antigua. Because remember, unless there is a final conclusion that is basically made by the Antiguan courts, the Antiguan government will also not be taking any decision on the extradition of Mehul Choksi, because remember he's taken up a citizenship there that was a citizenship by investment. So unless the court in Antigua takes a final call, it is very unlikely that the Indian agencies would be given the opportunity to even put across their case before the Antiguan courts. And this is certainly going to have a negative impact, given at least on the ground, that the Antiguan government will not be taking any decision on whether to send back Mehul Choksi to India for further legal recourse.
Right, Shravan. Many thanks for clarifying that issue as far as Mehul Choksi is concerned. The prosecutor has withdrawn the case against an earlier case registered against him of illegal entry into the island nation. Many thanks, Shravan.